Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomad World weekly series. I'm Becky, and I'll be your host. And today we're going to talk all about Buenos Aires, Argentina as a digital nomad destination with my guest, Mariana Somaza. Mariana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you here to talk about this with us because we actually met in Buenos Aires ourselves, and you've been living there for how many years now have you been there?
7 years, almost 7 years. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I'm almost local. Nah,
it's
I'm
so
kidding.
cool. And even when I met you, you were already working from home. So you've
Mhm.
been a remote worker for a long time. And that's what I want to ask about first. Can you tell us about your background? How did you get to Buenos Aires? And yeah, how did you start your remote work journey?
Sure, sure. Well, it all started around 2014 in Venezuela. That wasn't even a thing. So a friend asked me to help her to create content for a social media account for Facebook and Instagram. So it was very weird for even my family because normally I used to use the computer to use some to do some just work for the university or to play, but it wasn't just for a work. So I started like that from home, and then she asked me to do some translations for websites in Portuguese and Spanish. This small agency began to fill up with new clients, and I became a community manager without knowing that this was an emerging position at the online level. So in 2016, I decided to go to France as a fille au pair to learn the language, where I could continue working online in my space time. But also, thanks to my curiosity, and I met a tour guide in Paris, and he showed me his project of mobile apps for walking tours. And together with his team, I developed the content for the app. I made the audiovisual content, also the photography, and I gave them support. So I worked from cafes, from libraries, from the hotel also. And all this while I was closing my stage in Europe and starting my new path in Argentina, where I have some family and friends that told me that this was a very good place to stay at the country and also the city. So, and it was here in Buenos Aires that I started working in a co-working spaces, and I have met people just like me, always in movement.
Wow, you really are what we call an OG, like such a old school digital, well, remote worker, let's say, and you were a
Yes.
nomad. You were moving around. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, thanks to your curiosity, you could make these connections and yeah, very impressed at how long you've been and you're proving you can keep working remotely for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Buenos Aires. Okay, there's a lot of different aspects to consider when you're a digital nomad going to a city.
Yes.
So let's start when we arrive in Buenos Aires. Do you know how long most people can stay without a visa when they first arrive in the country? And is it also okay to do what we call a visa run, like leave Argentina for 2 days and come back and you can renew without getting a visa? How does that work there?
Yes, sure. You can stay up to 3 months on a tourist visa or without any visa at all, depending on your country of your passport. But if you think that you're going to stay longer, you have two options. You can just go, for example, to Chile or to Uruguay, also Brazil, stay there for a while and then come back. But if you want to stay here in the country, I recommend you to apply for an extension in the National Direction of Migration here in the city. and do that at least 3 weeks before those first months expire. Okay.
Okay. How long is the visa extension?
For 3 months also. So it's
Okay.
like around 6 months in entire.
I think that's great because a lot of countries won't let you do it in the country itself. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Yes, exactly. And it's very cheap. It's around I believe, well, the last time that I did that, like $180, something like that.
Okay. It could be the cost of a flight, especially in South America. The flights aren't
Mm-hmm.
that cheap. So, hey, you could do the
Mm-hmm.
math. That's great.
Exactly.
Do
Mm-hmm.
you know if you leave the country for 2 days and you don't do the visa extension, do you know what happens if you come back to Argentina 2 days later? Let's say
I
three
believe there
days.
is not a problem because you just stay the 3 months that you had, and then if you leave and you come back, you restart it. Let's say like that. But at least it's the information that I have.
Yeah, it's always changing too, right?
Mhm.
And I think that, you could maybe do that once, but if you tried it a second time in a row, that's when countries start to ask
Exactly.
questions. Then you go to the office, like you said, and see if you can
Exactly. Uh-huh.
extend. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Argentina, for those who don't know, for those who've never been, it is a very special country when it comes to inflation and the cost of living. The price of things is always changing. There's some really unique things that you need to do to prepare to go to Argentina. If you know the best way, if you know this in advance, it's really useful. So, when someone's planning to spend time in Buenos Aires, Mariana, is there anything they should know that they should bring into the country with them?
Yes, yes. Well, I recommend that you can bring in $100 bill, okay, American bills. But depending on your lifestyle, you will need something in between $1,000 and $2,000 in cash, okay, per month, okay. Since foreigners who pay with credit or debit or prepaid cards, they have also access to a better exchange than the official one. So this exchange is called well, let's say exchange rate is called MEP, okay, and it's between it's very it's better for tourists that exchange, and it has been used since last December in 2022. So and broadly speaking, it is a country in which you can have access to basic needs such as food, drinks, and personal hygiene. And you can purchases everywhere though. So if you need any specific medication, for example, just bring it, okay? But it's a country that has the necessary.
Yes, it's a really big city and it does have
Yeah.
even like an Asian supermarket. There's several of
Mm-hmm.
those. There's different types. You may have to go a bit further to get some like specialty things in the city, but like you said, most things are there. Is there anything, this is a tough question. Is there anything cheaper, like considerably cheaper outside of Argentina that you would recommend bringing in with you? I have heard, for
Mm-hmm.
example, electronics, anything electronic, like there's no
Oh,
Apple
yes.
store in Argentina. If the
No, there
last
is
time,
not the official one. There is not. There are many other kind of stores with electronic things, but are very expensive. Though it's cheaper in Chile, for example. There are many Argentinians that go and travel to Chile and prefer to pay them there, or even Brazil. Also, I do not recommend to buy the clothes, for example, for the good brands like Lacoste, like Levi's, like all those brands, because it's also very expensive for all the taxes that there are here. And so just to 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 just help the people, it's better like only get focused on food and Probably some are artesanales, like things that are made from here, that very unique from the Mercado de San Telmo, that those things of with leather also, it's very good here in Argentina. Boots, for example, or yes, that kind of stuff.
Okay, very good to know. I had one more question about the exchange rate that you mentioned.
Mhm.
Is it still cheaper to bring crisp $100 US dollar bills than to use the mat that you mentioned they started last year?
It's only a few pesos below the blue one, the exchange of blue. So
Okay.
for
The
me, it's better to use the card, because it's very like every day is increasing the inflation. So you will need many Argentinian bills on your pocket. So it's very dangerous to you to have a bunch of bills in your pocket. So that's why.
Yes, I'm very happy they introduced the mat. It wasn't in place the last time I was there, which was February
Mhm.
2022. I did have to go around with a backpack full of bills, which of course is
Mhm.
dangerous. And I
Yes.
would say to everybody watching, it's at this point not worth the risk to save a little bit on that rate unless you are in some kind of, unless you're willing to take the risk, but I personally would not.
Yes, because right now it's like $1 510 pesos. So 510 pesos, it's five bills, you know. So for one bill, five of this, it's a lot, and probably in a meal you will spend around 4,000 pesos. So there is many many bills
Yeah.
that you need.
I remember even last year, the largest bill they had was worth $5 by that point. So
Mhm,
you're just that stacks of money and let's use our
mhm.
cards, guys. Okay.
Yes.
So we got in, we got some money. Where should we look for accommodation when we're staying in Buenos Aires for, like, let's say a 3 month or short term period?
Okay. Well, normally people used to like Airbnb and Trivago, for example. In my opinion, Booking has more options and better prices. If you think that you will stay more than 3 months, I do recommend, for example, an apart hotel is the name that is used here, and it has a kitchen, necessary utensils, also the cleaning, and I do not recommend temporary apartments for foreigners right now, since the prices are higher and also the requires are higher, or the requirements, no, and you will need probably to pay in cash also, so it's a lot. And for me, the top neighborhoods to stay are Recoleta, Palermo, Belgrano, Barrio Norte, also Villa Crespo, Almagro, and Microcentro, that is the downtown.
Yes, and I would recommend people to please research these different neighborhoods because they're
Mhm,
very different from each other. The microcentro, like you mentioned, it's very much a downtown feeling.
mhm.
There's like, it's really not as that classic, those classic buildings are not there the way they are in Palermo or Recoleta. So,
It can be now like cheaper right down there, but you also need to be careful, like because it's very getting dark at night, but also you are close, for example, for um of the nightlife a little bit in the center, where there are many shows and tango shows, and also concerts, or yes, foods and restaurants, for example.
yes, I would say Palermo has a lot of things to do for like younger people clubs and things.
Yeah.
The microcentro is
Mm-hmm.
close to the area with like kind of behind me, like getting, it's like
Mm-hmm.
this place is like in between. This is the widest street in Buenos Aires
Mm-hmm.
called Avenida
Mm-hmm.
9 de Julio. And there are a lot
Yeah.
of like Broadway shows, like you said, not Broadway is the
Mm-hmm.
wrong word, but plays and theater. It's
But
in
it's a little
Spanish.
Broadway of Buenos
It
Aires.
is definitely a Broadway. It's mostly in Spanish, right? Like they don't have English shows on that street.
Yes, yes, only Spanish, and you will see like very the Argentinian way of yes, of nightlife.
Yeah, which is really exciting. And of course, soccer is a religion. I know we're going to talk a little bit about that later, things to do in Buenos Aires. But yes, like
Yeah.
this brings up a question that I just thought
Mhm.
about now. What is the best way to get around in Buenos Aires? Do they have a metro? What are the buses like for like later at night? What would you recommend?
Yeah.
Or
Exactly. Well, for example, well, you need to buy the SUBE, that is the card to use the transportation here. The buses are very good. Also, the subte, that is the metro here. Also, there is Uber, Cabify for mobile apps, to ask for a cab or a people to someone to pick you up. And also there are taxis, but you need to pay it in cash, not with a card or a QR point. So it's very easy to move here in the city. I actually don't use card, or I don't need a personal automobile, because it's very easy to move, very easy to walk, because it's very flat also the city. So there are many streets that are very big, and you just have the space to walk. Just be careful with your cell phone, with your personal belongings. But in the Avenida Santa Fe, for example, it's very normal to walk in. Also, Palermo is very like safe to walk. There are many police people that take care of you, but at the same time, it's very, very easy to walk.
I love Buenos Aires as a walking city. To me, it feels
Yeah.
the most like New York of any place I've been. I think it feels more like New York than Paris in some ways for the walking.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I have a question that if I'm in Broadway, if I go to see a Broadway show in Buenos Aires and it's like 2 a.m. and I'm leaving, what's the best way
Mhm.
to get home? Would you say like safest to like get in an Uber, or is the bus safe?
Safest, I prefer Uber. Okay, at 2 a.m. at that area, yes, I prefer Uber. Cabify is another one. If that is probably cheaper, you just have to compare them. I do that. But also, yes, the buses work, but there are timing, and you will probably wait around 20 to 40 minutes to have the yes, to catch the bus. But yes, it's normal that, yeah, during the night they passed like in very long terms, let's say, like.
Like every 30 minutes, every 40 minutes, like you
Yes,
said. But
exactly.
if you're listening, these buses run all night. So that's
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
exactly. They
We
run
don't
all
have
nine at the
that in some
morning.
cities. Yeah. In
And
Lisbon, we
here
don't have. Yeah.
in Buenos Aires, the parties, like for the young people, I am not young. I believe that I'm not, because it started at 3 a.m. So people just go out at around that time by night, and it finish around 8 in the morning. So there are people like having really, really fun at that time of the night. So it's very alive. It's a very just happy city, let's say.
Yeah. I've never seen older people like in their 60s, 70s, and beyond happier than I've seen them in Buenos Aires, to be honest, because they really live life late at night, even as they get older.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really a city that you will change your time zone, I think, for in your internally. So if you are a morning person, I'd say it's going to be hard to maintain that in Buenos Aires.
But also it's good for for example, but because the parks are like very free and you have them for yourself. So it's good at the same time if you are a morning person and you want to walk, there's going to be no one on a Sunday morning, no one.
Yeah, and for runners, like morning runners, it's great as
Mhm.
well. It's a big flat city, like
Yes.
you said. Okay,
Mhm.
so we thought about some accommodation options. Now let's talk about a big thing for digital nomads.
Mhm.
Where are some laptop friendly places to work? Any cafes or co-working spaces that you recommend?
Yes, you can find cafes in Palermo area, for example, co-works space, and also libraries with free Wi-Fi. I recommend for the cafes, Estudio de Café, Madres Café, also Verdín, Santal, and T-Connection. T-Connection is a franchise, so there are many around the city. And for the co-works, there are free, okay? There are two, the principal ones. There is Centro Cultural Recoleta, where there are also like paintings and the area of art, for example, but also it has like internal patio where you just put your laptop and there are energy plugins, yes, to work there and just have like a very good day there. Also, Work Café Santander. Santander is one bank here. And above the bank, you have a space where there is a cafe. You just buy something to drink or to eat, and you just sit there and work for the day. Also, there are pay for day co-works. There is Urban Station, Managua, also Music Hub, and Selena. For monthly subscription, there are Area 3, WeWork, that is the classic one, the corporate one, La Huerta, La Maquinita, and Hit Cowork.
Wow, thank you for those. That's going to be, I'm going to try to put a
Yes,
lot of those names in the description because I know some of them are
there
going to
are
be hard to
also
spell.
libraries. I started in libraries, okay? The Mariano Moreno, it's a lovely library. It's in Recoleta and it's beautiful. I don't want to spoil it, but it's beautiful and the Wi-Fi works very well. Biblioteca del Congreso de la Nación and La Casa de Lectura Julio Cortázar are very nice too. About the laptop that you mentioned, always be careful with your personal items such as laptops. Always bring a bag, for example, that conceals or the shape of the laptop to avoid to be thief or for potential risks, you know, of your security. But yes, like with the rest, it's very nice and you will have plenty space to work in Buenos Aires.
Thank you so much for all of those. And that's a really good tip about security. I think when we get off of a plane, sometimes we feel like we're in the same place where we just came from. And
Yeah.
really, the security is very different in different countries. So always, like you said, don't leave your laptop on the table when you go to the bathroom, for example. But no.
Yeah.
So
Probably in this co-work space like WeWork, like Area 3, that you have a monthly subscription, there is not a problem if you leave your things, but in a cafe, no. You are tempting the devil, as my mother says.
yeah, she's right. And she's right. Okay. Well, you're all of this talk. I'm starting to get hungry, Mariana. Where should we eat in Buenos Aires? Can you
Okay.
tell us about the food?
That's a big question because when I arrived, I thought that Argentinians also only ate empanadas, asado, and pizza. Only those dishes.
And
But
asado,
then
for
I
those who don't know, is like a grill. It's like grilled meat, right? Various grilled
exactly
meats.
say
Okay.
yes. But then I started to walk in the city, and I just found amazing places. There is a variety of international and national food, and also markets. Okay, so in that local food, I recommend las medialunas del abuelo. Medialunas are like a little croissants, let's say. El Cuartito as a best pizza a local place. It's very different as American pizza or like an Italian pizza because it's very thick and with very much cheese. So it's different and it's very nice that place. Also el ferroviario for milanesas. Milanesas, it's yes, English is it's the same probably. Becky, I just
Yes.
lost you.
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
perfect.
Okay, I
Yes,
think we're back. Oh,
perfect.
great. Let's not lose the. I know we're far away from each other. Portugal and Argentina. Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect. So el ferroviario for milanesas, la Dorita y el Caldén del Soho for steakhouse. Rapa Nui for ice creams and chocolate are very good, and the places are very nice too. And Mi Gusto for empanadas. Those are very big empanadas and very good. Every taste of them. What else? Bares notables. There are very like old stylist cafes and restaurants here in Argentina that are called bar notable. Okay, where well you can find many things in the menu as milanesa, pizza, empanadas, but in only one place. Okay, and La Poesía. It's very nice. That is in San Telmo, okay, and Bar Villa 71, Bar Villa 71, okay, which is also for sandwich and salame sandwich and also pizza and that kind of things. So
wow.
yeah, that it's only local. So many more things. Also, personally, for tourists, it's very common to go to Don Julio and Las Cabreras. But for me, it's very overrated for the prices because you can have the same steak or a level of the meat here because it's very good the steak in Argentina. So it's very expensive on those places. But if you want to go, just go ahead. I mean, but there are other places where you can find the same quality of food. Around, well, international food, you can have Vietnamese, Italian places, for example, Canteen, Il Quotidiano, Spritza, Mirutaki for Japanese, Laban, that is a French patisserie, that it serves macaroni, macaron,
Oh,
macaron, the
macarons.
French, yes, the French dessert, but it's an ice cream. So it's
Ooh.
incredible. It's incredible. And every month they have different flavors. The pistachio is my favorite one. So macaron helado, macaron ice cream. Okay. It's the best in Laban. Also, you have for Venezuelan, Avila Food, Fuego Pizzas del Mundo, which is a place that they serve many types of pizzas like for example from Chicago, from Italy, from Argentina, also American. So they mix all pizzas from all around. Also, if you want American breakfast, you have it in Jay's, and Mexican food in La Fábrica del Taco and Ya Cabrón. Okay. Also, there is a a new way of lifestyles with bars, with speakeasies and thematics bars here. And after pandemic also, it rises every single day. You have a new one. It's very incredible. Frank's Bar, Florería Atlántico, La Calle Bar Guitarrita, Honolulu, Boticario, Nowhere Gallery, Uptown, Airport, and The Hall. So I don't want to talk of each because it's a surprise in one of them, okay? And you will absolutely love them because it's very, very different and you won't expect that in every one of those speakeasies bars. Around markets, there are many of them. For example, the Santelmo, that is very classic one and very tourist one. So you just have to go and taste very, very good food there.
That's every Sunday, right?
Every Sunday, yes, you have it. But also, I believe that Saturday, the mercado, like where the food
the center
is
in the
center,
the covered market. Okay.
Yes, I believe that on Saturday you have it also open. Okay. Mercado Villa Crespo, very good for, yes, also vegan food. From many places you can find it in Villa Crespo. Pasaje de Barrio Chino, the Chinese town, yes. In Belgrano, also in El Rosedal, Los Arcos del Rosedal, and El Mercado de Belgrano, okay? And other places that I recommend to just go and eat around, Plaza Serrano, Plaza Armenia, Rabieta, Temple Bar for those bars, Burger Couple, that is very particular, but you also have like a burger server with media lunas, like from the top
the bun. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you have very different types of burgers and different, okay? Cervecería Ultert, I don't know how to pronounce the word, but it's in German, where there are many beers from all over the world and also from German. So it's very interesting. It's Untertucken, something like that. I will send you those names. Also for shopping malls, if you want to eat in shopping malls, there is Galerías Pacífico, Alto Palermo, Patio Bullrich, Recoleta Mall, Distrito Arcos, and Paseo Alcorta, okay? And if you are very, do you like to use Instagram, for example, I recommend 3 accounts, okay? Where they're always, yes, showing the new places or recommending really good places here in the town. So cool hashtag, sorry, not hashtag, is
underscore?
No, arroba, at cool
sorry. Okay.
Buenos Aires, at turista en Buenos Aires, and La Chica del Brunch, okay? So
Good.
those 3, I highly recommend them. Yes, are very interesting to see and see what's happened.
Wow. Well, Mariana, you've just highlighted why I've been to Buenos Aires 5 times, not just because I'm a foodie, but because really, everyone, there is so much to do in this city.
Yeah,
so many types of food. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, have no fear. There are many, many places now. Didn't used to be that way, but I think in the last 5 to 6 years, it really took off. And like you highlighted, there's so many different types of cuisine, including the steak. Don't miss the steak. That's like missing sushi in Japan. Like you need to have, and they also love sushi in Buenos Aires. I started noticing when I came back in the more recent visits.
Exactly.
Wow.
They're very, very nice places to go always.
Yeah. And a lot of places are very affordable as well, especially if you're using your card and getting a good exchange rate.
Yeah, exactly.
So We have a few more minutes. I wanted to ask you, like, what is the typical like weekly events that you can attend there? If you move there, if you, let's say you're going there for 3 months, what do people tend to do to have fun and hang out in Buenos Aires?
Well, normally, well, as I said, there are many places to go. The first things that really like me, it was the parks. Okay, the parks here are very, very beautiful and full of many types of trees and flowers. If you go come in and visit in springtime, it's beautiful. So El Rosedal and the Japanese garden are my favorite places. Also, there are theaters like El Teatro Colón that are very, wow, stunning. And also you can watch some yes, show or yes, spectacular there. Also, libraries like El Ateneo Gran Splendid. You can just go there and see the books and also drink a coffee when you are in a theater. Let's say it's beautiful. What else? There are many museums like the Malva. That is a Latin American art there. And also El Centro Cultural Kirchner, CCK, it's called. And it's very, very good. They're always showing paints and art and spectacular. So it's very, very good to go over there.
I had a Spanish teacher once in Buenos Aires, and she said she was in her 60s, and she said, I love this city because though I don't have a lot of money, the culture is so rich in Buenos Aires.
Yes.
I think in Argentina in general, they really put an emphasis on this, even for the poorest of people. You can still go to free museums and different events.
Yes, exactly. Also, you have the Floralis, and it's beautiful, and the what else? All the area of Recoleta parks are very, very nice. Just to go and walk and just sit in a bench, and you can spend the whole day without any problem. It's beautiful.
It's really nice. Well, why do you like living in Buenos Aires, Mariana? Why would you recommend this city as a great destination for a remote worker or digital nomad?
Well, Buenos Aires, it's just I believe it's beautiful. It's like it's in the top, I believe, of the most beautiful cities in the world. And for me, there are options for every kind of taste. And it's a city with a really good nightlife also. As my favorite singer from Buenos Aires, his name was Gustavo Cerati. And he said that this was the city of fury, and you feel like the fury, the passion, the people is very, very nice, kind, but also very like worry all the time. So it's a very interesting, it's like the tango. It's like a tango dancing. You don't know what it's going to be, but it's very, very like involving. I don't know.
A lot of twists and turns and a lot of steps to take. Yeah.
Yes, it's very very nice. The people, the things that you do, every corner there is something new to discover. Like it's very, very nice.
It's great. I also, it's funny we got this far into the conversation without mentioning tango, but if you have ever been curious about this dance, it's different than you think. What you've seen in movies with like a rose in the man's mouth and there's wild steps, that's not actually Argentine tango in its normal form. So I would encourage people, if they've never tried, try to connect with someone on the dance floor and go to a basic class. It's also a great way to meet other tourists, other expats and remote workers. So it's a lot of fun. And you can even find like even an Airbnb experience that will take you from the basic class into an actual, what they call a milonga, which is like the dance hall. And you can dance with your teacher. If no one else will dance with you, your teacher will dance with you. Happened to me. And it's a nice
Yeah,
way to see the culture and try this new thing. Because
yeah.
whenever a city is the capital of something, like Buenos Aires is the capital of tango, you have to go, you have to try it.
Yes, absolutely. That's where we actually met.
Yes,
We
yes.
met there.
I
There.
have so much to thank for tango. It's just very, it connected me with such wonderful people as yourself. And, you know, hey, if you're in any city watching this and you haven't checked out the local dance, if there's a dance is a great way to
Mhm.
connect.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for this great overview. My last question is, do you think it's easy for tourists or expats in the city to connect with the local people of Buenos Aires?
Absolutely. Yes, it's easy. At the same time, well, all my closest friends, I met them in co-working spaces, sorry. In my yoga practices, also the activities that I do, running or riding a bicycle, whatever, there is always a way to meet new people. Also, well, the tango classes was very fun. And you meet tourist people normally there, because Argentinian, they have like, okay, they like tango, but they don't normally dance there, so you will find more tourists than local people. But as I say, in co-working spaces, there is always someone curious or that wanted to know where are you from, and it's very easy to chat with someone in co-working spaces. And that's how we met. Actually, we met in a tango class with co-working people, so it's like with the Airbnb or something. So there is something, always something going around. So yes, it will be easy for you.
Yeah, and like you mentioned with the speakeasy tours or the bustling
Mhm.
nightlife, you can find events or Airbnb experiences, something of that nature that can get you
Yeah,
into that, even if you have
yeah.
just arrived. I did a speakeasy tour myself and it was wonderful. It was a lot of fun.
Hmm.
I did mostly connect with tourists on that event because, like, you know, we had to pay in dollars, like more money than a local
Yeah.
would do. But, you know,
Mhm.
the tour guide was local and maybe he can introduce you to his friends and the next time you meet. You never
Mhm.
know.
Exactly. Hmm.
Well, is there anything else you would like to share with us before we go, Mariana?
Just come and visit us. You will be glad to come and just to see this beautiful city. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm outing myself now as a person. Like, Buenos Aires is one of my favorite places in the world. As I said, I've been 5 times. I am never sad to go the next time. I'm always excited. I'm like, oh, I never
Yeah.
get tired of it because, like you said, there's so much to do. So we hope that you can check out Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Mariana, if people want to follow you, where can they go?
At Mariana underscore Somaza. That's my Instagram, and also, well, LinkedIn, Mariana Somaza, in Facebook also Mariana Somaza. So yes, found me there. Go
Thank you
find me
so
there.
much, Mariana, for telling us about this amazing city.
Okay, thanks to you, Becky, and it was a pleasure to talk about this.